Welcome to Love in Brief, a somewhat brief ABDL advice podcast focused on issues of love. I am Resident Yes, and I'm flying solo this week, but fear not. You're not going to have to listen to an hour of RY prattling on about something. I actually have 3 guests that are joining me today. And this is part of our Makers series. As y'all know, who listen to the podcast a lot, I'm a wee bit obsessed with people who take the step and have an idea of something they would like to see in the world, and especially in the ABDL community, and then step out and actually make it and try it and then offer it out to the world. So as part of our Maker series, I want to introduce you to 2 new makers and reintroduce you to a maker we've had on before with an exciting new update. And honestly, most of this is, yes, to let you know about the stuff they're making in case you want to engage it, but it's also about what do you want to make, and encouraging you and giving you case studies that encourage you to say, if you have an idea of something you think the community could benefit from, whether it's a product or a certain type of content or a type of meeting or a gathering, I want you to try and step out and make it. And it's okay if it succeeds, and it's okay if it doesn't succeed. What's most important is that you take the step to try and introduce your idea out into the world. So in that vein, I'm going to welcome my first maker of this 3-maker series, and I will allow them to introduce themselves, but this is my friend TK. And TK, tell us about your love.
Ooh, yeah. Well, it's always a fluctuating and evolving answer, so to speak, but one thing that's always consistent is really my love for the community. The community has always, risen to meet me wherever I was at, and, whenever I've needed them. And this is another perfect example of the community just reaching out and meeting me with some new venture and supporting it just wholeheartedly. And I just love this community. I love the people that are in it. And, it's changed my life. So, yeah.
Yeah, mine too. And I completely agree. Like when I have stepped out to try something, even like this podcast, the community rose and said, we like what you're doing. We want to encourage what you're doing. Give us more. And I know the idea we're about to talk about, you've kind of beta tested, debuted a little bit in the community. And I want to talk about the response to that. But let's back into that. Let's start with the idea. Describe the thing that you are making.
So I'm making a pacifier that has a Bluetooth chip in it that can control so far most Lovent's toys. So there's a little sensor inside the bulb, a little tiny pressure sensor, and as you apply just a little bit of a pressure to the bulb, it responds by sending a vibration command to the Lovent's toy, whatever that might be. So the idea is pretty simple, but the implementation's been, pretty challenging so far.
I'm sure it sounds wildly complicated. So as I'm picturing it's a picture a sort of standard adult-sized pacifier, right? With an adult-sized bulb in it, and inside of that bulb is a sensor, a pressure sensor. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a pressure sensor. It's actually called an FSR, a force-sensitive resistor, which are very super unique. They're actually used in in labs, people measuring the weight of a beaker as they're doing chemistry and things like that. It's like a highly precise instrument.
Oh,
actually, yeah.
So is it measuring not just on, off, but things in between?
Yeah. So it's a variable resistance. So it's variable. So as you apply more pressure, the resistance value goes up, and as you let off, the resistance value goes down. I wanted to make the pacifier kind of have kind of intuitive feel. So as you might be sucking harder or kind of pressing harder on it with your tongue, the vibration of the toy, responds in turn.
That's so cool. When you first shared the idea and I saw the visual of it, I remember thinking, oh, this is an amazing sort of on-off mechanism, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what you're describing is even cooler, which is actually sort of transmitting the action of your tongue to another person remotely.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Amazing. And
uh,
and
sorry, go
the
ahead.
I was going to ask about the Levens brand. I know some people might know it, some people might not. Talk to me about Levens. What are they, and what do they make?
So Lovense makes all kinds of adult toys, insertables, external toys, but their main unifying feature with I would say 90% of their toys is that they have Bluetooth control, so that you can control them from a phone or from an app. Um, and gosh, they have like I think 30 or 40 toys in their line, and so, in fact, just yesterday, I was on a call with somebody who had a couple toys that I hadn't had a chance to test with yet, and we did kind of an over the phone brute force kind of hacking, if you will, into their toy to figure out the control commands for it, and it was really fun, actually. So,
I
but
bet. I bet. Yeah, they're kind of
yeah,
famous. You're right for being able to do things via Bluetooth, and they're they tend to be often partner toys because you can actually give your partner codes so that they
hmm
can control your toy either remotely because they're next to you or even remotely over the internet.
yeah, they're really cool company. From everything that I've learned about them so far, is like there's a couple of other adult toy manufacturers that I won't mention, but they kind of all seem to want their ecosystem locked into their app and their codes and all that stuff. But I think Lovense just wants people to have orgasms. So I think they're just like all about like people like me kind of making some kind of unique thing to control their devices. And I think they just want to sell more devices and want people to have fun.
Yep. And
So,
obviously, we're not paid endorsers for Lovins or anything, but
mhm.
I will back you up that I actually think they do want people to have orgasms, and it works. So we've had a couple of Lovins toys. The Lush is kind of a really popular one, which is like a G Spot egg style vibrator. They've got a big kind of dildo thing with a G Spot stimulator called a Velvo, and some butt plugs, and there's one called Gush, which I think is sort of like a, what do you call it, like a pocket sort of thing. I don't know.
Yep,
They've got a whole bunch of stuff.
so many things.
Yeah.
So
And
the,
this could
go,
conceivably, your creation could control any of them.
so far I haven't found an incompatibility with any of them. So just yesterday I had somebody reach out on Reddit and they said, "Hey, will this work with the F machine?" Um, and I said, "I have no idea, but that's kind of like the big daddy machine that they make." And so we got on a call, and within about 5 minutes, the code that I'm using was actuating the thrusting mechanism on the F machine. I don't know if I can say the F word on the podcast, but
Oh, sure. Yeah. You
yeah.
can say anything you
So the
want.
fuck machine was running and running well with the code that I already have existing.
Wow.
It seems like Lovence is trying intentionally to make all of their products kind of controllable via the same type of code, which I think is really cool as a company, like, just to ensure compatibility with things.
Yeah. It's almost like they took like an open source approach and said,
hmm
we welcome people to make stuff to go with our stuff.
Yeah. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention a website called buttplug.io, which is kind of an open source community who's done a lot of the research into these codes and how they control these devices. And they're doing things outside of Lovence, but Lovence is the main one that project works on. So I need to
Oh,
give a
very
big shout
cool.
out to them for all of the front running they've done on this kind of thing.
So this is sort of a community of makers, of people who know how to get into these devices and control them.
Yeah, and they're making things, they're not making ABDL specific things, and I don't actually know all the use cases and products they're making, but they are, making their work public. And I think on some level, Lovence has also kind of acknowledged their work too and supported it.
Yeah. That's awesome. And it enables conversations like the one we're having today. This might be the first ABDL specific vibrating product accessory that I'm aware of. Maybe there are others, but I'm not aware of them.
It might be, I don't know. I don't know.
That's pretty cool that you may have broken a new market. You may have broken a new category here. What made you want to make this? Where did the idea come from?
So I think I saw the same GIF that most of us saw either on Tumblr or Twitter or X rather, back in 2023. There was a kind of like an engineering bench, and somebody, all you can see is their hands. They pull pacifier out of a cap, and they have a hush vibrator, butt plug sitting there on the bench. They squeeze the Paci bulb, and the thing vibrates.
Mm.
And I think I had the same response that everybody else did. It was like, holy shit, that's fucking cool.
Yeah.
And so I was thinking, okay, let me check this out. So I did a little digging. This is back in 2023. And okay, it's in development. I'm sure it'll be out in 6 months. And of course, it hasn't. Nothing came of it that I knew of at that point. So come end of 2025, I wanted to get into a new hobby because I was going through some difficult life stuff, and that's typically
Hmm.
how I respond. And you know what, I'm just gonna try and make one of those and just see what I can do. And um I, progress went well. And the first time I had a toy vibrate on my bench, I was, kind of a eureka moment.
Hmm. Hmm.
And so I thought, I'm gonna make some of these and send them to my friends. And I did, and the response was good from that. And so I was like, maybe I'll sell some of these. Maybe I'll make some money back that I put the thousands of dollars I put into this equipment and
Yeah.
process. And um so after I'd released it, though, I found out that project, and I hope it's okay if I mention it, that is called, they're calling it the Smart Paci, is still actually in development.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I've had a lot of conversations with the developer, who's ostensibly a genius. I mean, he's ultra brilliant engineer. He's a true engineer. I'm just kind of a tinkerer.
Hmm.
And he's still developing that product. And he's out of New Zealand. And I'm comfortable sharing that. They've got a Discord. Their X is Curious Inventions, and they're taking it to a whole nother level. They're
Mm.
doing multiple sensors, multiple different app integrations, and all kinds of things that are kind of outside the scope of what I'm capable of doing.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I got the idea, and I'm still actually supporting their project as well, just because I want to see more products
Hmm.
in our
Hmm.
space like that. And I'll probably buy one, when it comes out, just because it's going to be able to do things that you know I just don't have the capability of doing or making. But
For sure.
yeah.
This is another thing I'm passionate about when it comes to makers in the ABDL space is that we need to support each other, right?
Hmm.
And it's really not a competition market, at least not yet.
No, no.
Certainly when I have other folks who say, hey, I want to start a podcast, like not only do I want to help you start your podcast, I want to listen to your podcast. I want to learn from
Hmm.
your podcast. And the same with you, that you're saying, it sounds like you're working sort of even in cooperation with these folks to say, how do we make different types of cool shit for
Yeah.
makers, or from makers to the community?
Yeah, for sure. And they even made the initiative. They reposted very early on. They were one of the first people to repost my Twitter post about the thing, and they said, "This isn't ours, but we're really excited to see this." And like, I was just overwhelmed. I thought they'd feel encroached upon, or any number of things.
Yeah.
But we've had long conversations on Discord, and ready to share my code with them, and all kinds of stuff. I just want to see more stuff happen in the community. And the other thing about this is a hobby for me, not not my real job. So I can only take this so far, really.
Yeah, I mean, but what you've done is you've broken through, right? You've
Hmm.
got the first thing on the market that now has broken through, created a category, so that as others build, they can build and iterate and make the next big thing based on the thing that you broke through. So it's okay if it's not your full-time job, right?
Yeah,
That the community will find ways to make bigger, better, different while you're continuing to do this and make an awesome product. So I think that's really cool.
thank you.
So how do folks get it? How do folks check it out?
So you can find a link to. I'm using a platform called Big Cartel, which is kind of like an Etsy thing that's a little bit more friendly towards adult products. You can do it at tinkerkinkers.bigcartel.com. You'll find the actual storefront, and then I'm on the socials as TinkerKinkers as well. And there's links to the store in the socials.
Yeah, I know that we are connected on Instagram. Are there other socials where people could reach you?
I just started an X/Twitter about a month ago. There's that, and
Hmm.
then I'm on Reddit as well. In fact, Reddit's kind of been the big launch spot for this product. Um, and I'm trying to make a blue sky here soon. I'm just not a huge social media person anymore. So, but I am
Yeah,
very
yeah.
responsive to anybody who has a problem with their product or has questions about the product or anything like that, I always have notifications on so that if anybody has a question or needs support, like I'm always there.
That's awesome. If folks have not already seen the video, I know I found it on Instagram. I'm sure it's on your other socials, but there's a really fun video of watching you press on the bulb just with your finger and watching a butt plug just like vibrate by in the background. It's really fun. We got ours. Thank you for sending us one of the beta versions, and we're going to try it out this weekend. We're super stoked about it, and I can't wait to tell you how it went. And you described it sort of as being in a beta version, but that doesn't mean people can't find you, try it out, get the product, even though you are continuing to develop and enhance the code.
So this is an interesting question, and what I've been learning about software development is that a product is always in development. A product or a piece of code that's been abandoned or just left to live its life out in the world is, in the programming community, considered dead or abandoned. So I would call this a version 1, but I'm continuing development. I'm going to keep releasing free firmware updates for different control modes and things like that. So yes and no. Yes, it is a beta version, but I think if it is, it's always going to be a beta version because I'm always going to be trying to make it better and update it and things like that and support the product. If there ever comes a point where I have to tap out, what I'll probably do is either turn the project over to somebody else who can continue development or open source the project, and just release all of my documentation to everybody if they want to try and make their own.
Okay. All right. That's good. Well, I am super excited. I know we got the sort of beta version release, and we are actually jumping on it this weekend. We're trying it out, so I'm super excited about it. TK, TinkerKinkers, this has been awesome. I'm so excited about what you're making. Is there anything else that you want to share before we sign off?
Just a huge thank you to the community for their response to this. I really wasn't expecting such an outpouring of love and feedback. So thank you all very much.
You bet. And just a reminder to folks, that is tinkerkinkers.bigcartel.com, or find TinkerKinkers on the socials. And I can't wait to see all the things, all the improvements you're going to make with this thing. This is really fun. Okay, so now to transition to a very different type of maker and a very different type of made thing. I am really pleased to talk about, in the content world and in the creation world, like a lot of times we are maybe trying a new type of writing or a new type of picture or video or website, right? But every once in a while, somebody comes along with an idea that is the first time I have ever heard about that idea applied to an ABDL context. And this is one of those moments. The moment I heard it, I was like, we need to make a Makers series interview about this. So I want to bring on MisterSeaOtter, and we're going to talk about MisterSeaOtter's creation. But first, MisterSeaOtter, welcome to Love and Brief, and tell me about your love.
It is an absolute honor and privilege to be here. Thank you so much. And what I love right now, and I've been loving for a while, is K-pop Demon Hunters.
Oh my God, yes. Oh my God, yes.
I know. And not just the music, although I will admit to more than once humming along with the music.
Yes, for sure. Catchy as shit, that, actually. It sticks with you all weekend, whether you want it to or not.
It is, and it doesn't help that my kids constantly ask for it in the car.
Yeah.
Which I'm always like, yes, that's better than some of the other stuff.
For sure. A massive improvement over the Baby Shark song. So we'll take that as a win.
Huge win. The thing I really love about that movie, though, is the incredible parallels that I think you can draw from it with so many of us in the ABDL community. We all have our little things that we're trying to hide from others. We all have these little things that we've carried around. We've all got our patterns, if you will, from the movie. And just literally some of the lyrics that are in there, like if you actually kind of read them, it just, I don't believe for a second it was written by somebody who's ABDL or for ABDLs, but it could be.
Absolutely. I remember thinking that while watching it. There's a handful of movies that while watching it, I was like, this feels like it could be about me. Like The Greatest Showman, when I first heard that song, This Is Me. Frozen, when she does the whole song in the castle about this is like who I am coming to life. Every single time I've thought, this could apply to me. This could apply to my ABDL side.
Yeah, for me, it's the in the finale. But I'm going to quote it to the little bit extent that I can. But nothing but the truth now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and just pouring her heart out. Like, this is who I am. This is the song that I couldn't write. This is the truth that I couldn't share. Now I'm seeing the beauty in the broken glass. I'm seeing the beauty. It's like self-acceptance. It's, coming out. It's coming to terms with who you are and being accepted and received in love, and having your friends just come right there for you. And, I don't know why I didn't trust you to understand. Right? It's so perfect. I love it.
I have to go back and watch it again through this lens again. Thank you for that. But I know that's not why we're here.
Right.
Tell me about the thing you've made is you are doing coaching for people with an ABDL kink. What does that mean? I mean, I picture somebody like standing next to them and saying, here's how you put a diaper on, but that's not what we mean by a coach, right? You're not like cheering them on with a whistle. What does a coach do?
Yes. Coaching is often confused with a number of other kind of modalities and stuff like that. The way I like to describe coaching is, you can't see me, but I'm doing my little circle Venn diagrams and stuff. Like, you've got therapy, which is really focused on the past. I'm a huge fan of therapy. I love my therapist. If she ever hears this, I love you so much. And then you've got, like, on the other side, you got kind of like consultants. A consultant is somebody you pay money to tell you what to do, right? Like, hey, what should I do here? Like, mentors are kind of in that same box. Coaching is not about telling somebody what to do. And it's not therapy, but there's going to be some overlap in those circles. Coaching is all about helping people find solutions on their own, right? Helping people find ways to kind of sort through their own problems without telling them, like, hey, here's what you should do. If you're working with a coach and they're like, here's what you need to do, the red flag. Coaches, as I like to describe it, our job is to create, in the coach world, they like to call it a container. But basically, I like to call it a safe space, right? Like, we create a relationship where there's mutual trust, mutual understanding, and everything we talk about is anonymous, and a place where people can really pour their heart out and be vulnerable. I always like to use the phrase, vulnerability is the fuel that makes coaching work. And the other thing I tell people is, we all think about all sorts of stuff in the shower, right? We all kind of work through our own problems. What should I have done there? And neurologically speaking, different parts of the brain get engaged when you're speaking with another human than when you're having that conversation with yourself. And so by working with a coach, you may be able to unlock some ideas, some answers, have some revelations and stuff like that you might not be able to do on your own.
Yeah.
And feel really good about it while you're doing it.
I've experienced this. Actually, one of my first therapists was somebody who really didn't talk much. In fact, they didn't really offer advice. Long term, it wasn't a good fit because I really wanted advice. But I remember for the first 2 or 3 sessions with this person thinking, this is the greatest conversation I've ever had. And it literally, it's the part of the brain you're referring to. I was able to say things, come up with things, and think things I had never thought before, simply because I was saying them out loud to another human being. And it turns out that it opens up a different part of you, much less than to apply all of the expertise and experience as a coach that you have in your response.
Right. And we as coaches, our job is to ask questions and to pay attention to the person we're working with on multiple levels, on an emotional level, on a what are they just saying level, on a just intuition, kind of like I'm sensing something. I don't mean like magic sensing something, but I can tell by the tone of your voice that, or I can see your facial expression that something's going on here. And sometimes people are aware of it, and sometimes they're not. And sometimes they're like, yeah, now that you mention it, I am actually really feeling really sad, or whatever it might be. Just helping people kind of have that, somebody whose entire job is to listen, focus on you, and help you work through a conversation, work through, a thing or something like that. It really, when it works, it works. It's really special to see.
This is such an interesting occupation, line of work. How did you get into being a coach?
So through my work, I was accepted into one of our extremely difficult to get into leadership programs. I actually had to apply 3 times before they finally let me in. but it's one of those leadership programs where they really go all in. They really invest both time and money. They throw some training at you. It's a 1.5 year long program. You bond with all these cohort mates and stuff. Anyway, one of the modules in that program was on coaching, and I'd heard of coaching, but I'd never participated in it, done it, or anything like that. And we had an instructor. She was giving us like, hey, here's coaching 101, here's some basics. And then she's like, all right, so here's, it's the end of the day. Like, here's what we're going to do for kind of like a wrap up exercise. She said, I have a real world problem that I'm dealing with right now, and you all are going to coach me on it. And everybody gets to ask one question. So think really long and hard about what the one question you want to ask is, and we'll just see what happens. And so there we went. So people started asking a little bit. Well, she gave some background, like, here's what I'm dealing with. And people raised their hand, people asked some questions. And I eventually just kind of started thinking, like, I thought I had something. I'm like, I think I got a good question. And so I raised my hand and I asked my question. And she kind of just freezes and says, oh my God, and starts crying.
Whoa.
And I'm going to be honest, I thought it was like she was acting, right? I thought it was just like,
right.
Oh, this is, part of the whole spiel. And no, she wasn't. She wasn't acting. She was really genuinely having a moment. She's like, I'm sorry, I need a timeout. Like, everybody take 5.
What was the question? Were you like, what is the most damaging moment of your life?
No, it was nothing like that. It was very contextual. It's like, hey, like, I hear you keep saying this, and this, and it really sounds like you're struggling to be heard or believed. I don't remember what it was, but it was very much like, hey, you keep saying this over and over, and I keep noticing this seems really important to you. What's going on with that? And she realized, like, and she had this moment where she connected, like, she had a mother who had mental health issues, and she kind of put it all together. She explained it to us. But the takeaway from that was like, okay, this coaching thing's pretty cool. And we practiced coaching on each other, and I made another one of the people in my cohort cry. And so I became known in my group as the guy that makes people cry. And people said it in a loving, contextual way, right?
I was going to say it's either good or bad. I don't know.
Yeah, no, it was definitely good. So anyway, the program moved on. We moved away from coaching, but I made a note to myself. I'm like, I got to circle back on this coaching thing. And so fast forward, the program ends. I go to my boss. I'm like, hey, that program was amazing. A bunch of people in my program told me I might be a really good coach. Would you be up for putting me through a coaching program? And he's like, yes, I would. I think you would be a good coach too. So fast forward, I apply, I get accepted to a very elite coaching program. I had no idea that was the case. I just wanted one that was nearby where I lived and had in-person as an option. So I literally applied to only one with doing no additional research other than in-person near me.
This sounds like my approach to things. Very good.
Yeah. And I went into that program with 2 goals. 1, find out, am I actually good at this? And 2, is this something I really enjoy? And that program was another incredible and amazing experience. Another absolutely amazing group of people that I went through with, really kind of transformational. I don't use that word lightly. We're all still very close. But I figured to answer out to those questions. Yes, I do enjoy this. Yes, I'm not savant or anything remotely like that, but no, like, I have certain characteristics, certain personality traits that lend themselves really well to coaching. And so that was it. I finished my program. I graduated. I worked, got enough hours. I eventually got my ICF certification, the test and all that kind of stuff. And now I'm officially an ICF certified coach.
Oh, it's very cool. So there is a certifying body and everything.
100% yes.
Yeah.
We are not licensed, but the International Coaching Federation, ICF, is the worldwide, is a global body that provides the foundation for, there's a whole ethics and, membership, and, it's a very well-run organization that, yes, definitely they are the official kind of body that will, like, stamp you, like, you are officially a certified coach. And there's different levels of coaches, to be fair. And I'm at the beginning level coach.
Sure.
You need like thousands of hours to be,
a black belt.
Level. Yeah, exactly. They have like the black belt level that involves thousands of hours of practice coaching.
Yeah. It does strike me too, when you talk about transformation, that some of the skills that you would teach, for instance, to an ABDL person about like how to talk to somebody else about ABDL, or even how to accept yourself and, free yourself of shame, that those things would be transferable. We talked about in episode 146 just recently, the Dom subdynamic episode, about how like kink teaches you life skills that can be really helpful everywhere else. It strikes me that your coaching for ABDL some of those skills could be really transferable to like every part of your life.
100%.
Yeah.
I use it at work all the time. Like I'm a manager. I have people that work for me and I coach them, right? Like not like in a sit down session like I would do with a client, but like you use the same skills. I use them with my children. You know, I'm raising kids with my wife, and 100% use coaching skills. And really it's mostly listening skills.
Yeah.
They will warn you, don't try coaching your spouse.
No, 100% agreement with that.
And I couldn't help myself. I'm dumb. Like I'm just going to try it. And you know, I tried to sneak it in, and I don't think I got more than 2 questions in before she was like, what the hell are you doing?
What are you doing?
Yeah. She completely spotted. I'm like, well, all right. Now I know why they say not to do that.
No, it's true with some of my training as well, and professional training, that I've tried to do it with a spouse or partner, and they see right through it. They're like, who are you being right now? Yeah. Stop it.
They're like, I don't know what you're doing, but stop.
Cut it out. Oh, that's
They know us too well. They know us too well.
That's
they
right.
See right through us.
That's right. What sorts of things would a person come to you that they might want coaching about?
So most of my coaching, to be honest, does not take place in the ABDL space. I am normally an executive leadership coach. I work with senior executives and, you know, people in high, not super high ranking, but, you know, middle managed to high ranking positions. And a lot of the times, people come to me saying like, hey, you know, maybe they already have a therapist. Frequently they do.
Mm-hmm.
But like, hey, I keep having imposter syndrome. And I'm in these meetings and I know that I'm supposed to be in these meetings, but it just keeps coming up and I really want to move past it. Or, hey, I just inherited a new team and I'm working with this new team and I'm not sure that it's going great. And I really want to try to brainstorm some ideas on things that I could do.
Mm-hmm.
Coaching is about future, right? Like therapy, as we like to say, is kind of focused on resolving the past.
Mm-hmm.
And coaching is about changing the future.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, hey, like I recognize where I'm at. I recognize what's going on and I want to make some changes. Now, I think that applies really well with some of my ABDL clients too, right? Where, hey, you know, I'm happy to talk to you about the past. In fact, we will. Like I can't be a good coach without knowing your story and knowing where you've been. But let's talk about how you want to change the future. Right. And we're going to need to take into account what's happened in the past in order to do that. But, you know, it could be any number of things. It's like, hey, maybe I want to, you know, I had a client, it's like, hey, I need to tell my girlfriend. Or, hey, I really want to try wearing in public. Or, hey, I really want to, you know, open up more with my wife about, you know, experimenting with this new thing. Or, you know, any number of things where it's like, hey, I just, there's this thing I've always wanted to do. And I'm in a place in my life where I'm ready to really try to make that happen. And I'm struggling to make it happen. Can you help?
So it's sort of goal oriented that way. I have a thing I would like to see happen in my life.
Ideally, yeah.
Yeah. And you can help that person think through how they're going to accomplish that.
How they're going to accomplish it. And sometimes, you know, I'll have people just take a step back. Why do you want to accomplish that?
Mm-hmm.
What's going on with that? And like, let's look into that. Like, and usually, yeah, like we figure out, oh, okay, like, this is why you want to do it. Why haven't you done it yet? What's been holding you back?
Yeah.
And that's really where the good coaching work comes in, is like, okay, like what do we need to do to make that happen? What is it that's holding you back? What are some of the things that might need to change? What are some of the things that you've tried but didn't work? And just getting people to be like, oh yeah, I did try that. Like, and you're like, you know, this is a, you know, freebie here, but one of our favorite coaching questions. So what else?
Yeah, that's a good one, isn't it?
Right. Just what else? And you just leave it there.
Yeah.
And I use this with my, you know, non-ABDL clients all the time. I'm like, when you're talking to people, you're doing reviews, you're trying to get information out of somebody, just drop what else and then shut your mouth.
Yep.
And you'll be amazed at what comes out.
Yep. One of my favorites is, tell me more about that. You'll hear me say that a lot on the podcast, because it's just one more. Hey, what else do you have to tell me? And that's when the amazing stuff comes out.
Yep. They teach us in coaching that, like, oftentimes, you know, when you ask somebody like, hey, do you have an idea? And they give you an idea and you ask what else, not more often than not, but frequently, the second thing that they mention will actually be better than the first.
Oh, sure. Oh, sure. I am curious. We talked about sort of life goals, things I want to do or accomplish. What about some more internal processes? And maybe this is where it borders sort of with therapy and who does what. But what if I'm like, hey, you know what? I don't have a particular accomplishment, but I feel so much shame about, for instance, putting on a diaper. Is that something you would help with as well?
Absolutely. Right. Like, and this is where like you start getting a little close to the line, right? Like I can't help you resolve the past in terms of like, hey, like maybe, you know, something happened in your past and it's really holding you back and you really need to work with a therapist to get through that. But if you're saying, hey, like there's this part of me that really wants to wear a diaper and I'm just struggling to make myself do it because of shame or that kind of stuff. Yeah, that's where I love working with people, right? Because that is definitely a place where we can help, and you can help people have these kind of self discoveries of, you know, what is it that's holding you back?
Yeah.
Why do you feel that shame? Where is that shame coming from? And one of Coach's favorite moments, and I have this, I would say like close to 50% of the time with a lot of the clients I work with, especially females, people start crying, right?
Huh.
And not like crying in a bad way, crying in a good way, crying in a way, I like to call them the tears that needed to fall.
Yeah.
And people who are like, oh my God, I just finally realized the reason I'm so ashamed of this is because of this thing that I had never connected to this shame. And now that I'm connecting it, I'm having like a moment and I'm releasing this stuff that I've been carrying around for, you know, 5, 10, 20 years or something like that. And that is where you're just like, oh yes, like they're so appreciative of it. You get to have this amazing experience of watching someone have an amazing experience.
Yes.
It's a privilege to get to watch that.
Yeah, we've got an upcoming episode on sort of globally toxic gender norms. And when you mentioned it's especially more women who tend to cry than men. And I look at that and I go, man, that's such a bummer for the men.
Yep.
It's such a bummer that they don't feel like they can do that.
And this is where I come back to vulnerability, right? Because crying is like to some degree the ultimate vulnerability for some people. Some people cry all the time, it's no big deal. But like in order to cry, you're being vulnerable. And in my experience, I've gotten men to get to the point where they can do it. It takes them a little bit longer to get there in terms of maybe a few more sessions before they finally like, you know, I think I know what's really going on. What is that? I was severely bullied as a kid.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, okay, let's talk a little bit about that. And all of a sudden, like the pieces all come together. I'm like, well, now I understand why you're struggling to lead your team. And like, you know, there's a whole bunch of things that make a lot more sense now.
And I would imagine if it's a wound, like a proper wound, that's a therapist's job.
Yeah, that's a good way of describing it. I certainly want to hear about the wound, right? I certainly want to hear about what happened and like take that into context. But in terms of like really going back and working through the trauma that maybe you experienced, that's where I as a coach start saying, hey, look, this sounds like something that you might want to talk to a therapist about, because I'm getting outside of my circle a little bit. I certainly feel like this is an important thing. It's obviously had a tremendous impact on you. And if you've never spoken to a therapist about it, it's something you might strongly consider.
Yeah, and I guess I'm distinguishing in my mind between a healer and a guide, right? Like a healer fixes wounds, mends broken things, and a guide can point you to a path or help you see a future thing.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. We're not here to fix people, right? Like that's definitely not coaching. Coaching is helping people fix themselves and find ways forward after they have fixed themselves, or like, hey, like I finally resolved this thing from the past and I really want to make changes now that I'm in a good place. You know, I've went through it with therapy and I'm really ready to finally start allowing myself to put on a diaper at night. I don't know, whatever it might be.
Sure. Yeah, this is really good. Thank you for that distinction. I know I've been keep coming back to it, but it super helps me to understand what the difference is. And I know there are a lot of therapists, for instance, mine, who is also a great coach. And at some point, the relationship moved from, hey, this wound needs healing, to, hey, it's healed. How do I get what I want out of my life? And both are true for that therapist. And in your practice, it's really just focusing on that coaching part.
Yeah, especially with the non-ABDL clients. When I am working more with ABDL clients, you know, I will occasionally, when appropriate, say, hey, look, I'm going to take off my coaching hat for just a brief second and just talk to you as a fellow ABDL. And, you know, have you considered X, Y, or Z, right?
Yeah.
Just because the amount of shared knowledge and shared history and shared experiences there, you know, I don't typically have that kind of level with just a random client. I don't know where they work. I don't know what they do. I've never met their team.
Yeah.
So, and that's not uncommon for, you know, coaches to occasionally, you know, step into like more of a mentor role briefly, but ethically it's important for us to acknowledge it out loud. Hey, I'm going to pause being a coach for a second here and give you something to think about. And people generally are very receptive to it. A lot of times people are like, thank you so much. Like I was really hoping you would say something like that.
Yeah. What are the types of things that we talked about what an executive coach might bring to you as a question? What would an ABDL person, what types of things tend to be goals that an ABDL person might bring to you?
Usually it's some kind of like, hey, I want to finally start allowing myself to do something I haven't been able to do.
Yeah.
Right. It's like, hey, I've always wanted to tell my girlfriend, hey, I've always wanted to, wear outside of the house. Hey, I've always wanted to, I don't know, maybe wet the bed or try wetting the bed or something like that. Those are the kind of things that people often will want to talk about. They will also talk about stuff like, hey, like I really want to get past this whole shame thing. Like I'm over it. I want to like be able to wear a diaper without shame, or I want to be able to like ask my partner to put one on me without, having a nervous breakdown or, panic attack. I can't help you fix the panic attack stuff, but I can definitely help you like, hey, let's come up with a way to make, you more comfortable and finding a way that you can ask for that kind of stuff without it being a traumatic experience.
Yeah. Yeah, it's wild because these are some of the same questions we tackle on the podcast. And obviously the medium is very different, but in some ways, I think I have thought historically about the podcast as sort of a long distance advice program. So it's a little bit like coaching, but it's obviously for everyone all the time versus one person one-on-one for a specific period of time and specific goals.
Yeah, that's a good way.
That's awesome. That's awesome. What are your goals? What do you hope to accomplish as a coach with a growing ABDL clientele?
I really enjoy working with this community, and it's one that my goal is to grow my, I'm going to call it a practice. I have a regular 9-to-5 day job. So this isn't like my only job, but really grow this side of my practice and spend more time in this community. I would really like to have the ability to take on more clients and work with people because it's so rewarding for me personally. I really enjoy it. I really get a lot out of it. It's fun. It's amazing. It's, you could have these great experiences. The problem is it's really, I can't exactly put an ad in the white pages, or just,
right.
It's hard to it's hard to connect, right? It's hard to put yourself out there in a way that, people are like, oh, this sounds legit. I mean, there's so many scammers and, bad things out there that I don't blame anyone in any way, shape or form for being skeptical of anything they read online these days.
Sure.
Which makes it difficult for legitimate people to be like, no, really, I'm actually not trying to scam anybody. I'm a professional coach. I'm certified. I've been to training. I've done all this stuff. This is what I do, and I'm not bad at it. I know what I'm doing. Without it seeming like, oh, there's another scammer.
Yeah. I suppose it wouldn't work to get to the end of your executive coaching interviews and then say, by the way, are you an ABDL? Because I can help with that too.
I would expect them to be like, what does that stand for?
What is that again? Yeah, but that one person, that one person, it'll all be worth it.
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
No, I can't.
And I totally hear you on the rewarding part. Like I have been asked, why do you do the podcast? Like clearly it's not for money, right? It costs me a bunch of money to do the podcast. It's a lot of time and effort. What makes it worth it is because of those people and those stories and those connections. And when somebody sends me a note and is like, hey, my life is better because you're a part of it, even through my headphones or whatever. I broke through, I told my girlfriend, and now I just got one of these yesterday. I told my wife of 25 years. I've never told her. And now we have, like, she said, let's try it together. And I'm so excited. Those kinds of moments. Or, I've lived in shame for my whole life about this, but this thing you said really helped me. There is nothing on earth like that feeling. There is no replacement for that. And I don't care how much it costs me, and I don't care how much time I need to put in and work. It will always be worth it.
I wholeheartedly agree. I'm on the old, I'm not old, but I've been around for a long time, and way back in the day, GeoCities and stuff. I remember I put out a webpage that was, hey, like here's what ABDL is. Here's how you might tell someone that you care about that you're an ABDL. And I did not get many, but I did get a few emails from people who were saying like, thank you so much. Like this has helped me. Like I shared this with my wife, or I used this, and I didn't expect to get anything like that. And like when I saw it, that's what made everything worth it. And that's what made me say, like, this is something super powerful, something super necessary, which is why I love this podcast so much. There's just so, I don't want to say so little, but it's rare to find really affirming, well-produced, intelligent, digestible content that is so helpful. And people need it, right? Like, everybody needs it. Everybody needs to hear that kind of stuff. And it is a win-win situation.
Yeah. I love that. If folks want to get in touch with you for ABDL coaching, how would they do that?
Probably the best way would be Gmail. coachseaotter@gmail.com is going to be, that's my plan A right now. I will admit I have an extremely brand new Instagram account that I made, I think, a few days ago. That CoachSeaOtter. You'll find it, but it's, Gmail is going to be your best bet. That's where I'm most likely to look to find stuff. And I really, really am hopeful and excited that people will reach out, because that would just make my day, and I would love to work with people.
That's awesome. I'll make sure and put a link in the show notes. But for those who are just listening or can't look, that's Coach CSEA, Otter, like the animal, all one word, right? No spaces, no dashes, no underscores. Just coachseaotter@gmail.com, CoachSeaOtter on Instagram.
You got it. That's it.
That is fabulous. Thank you for spending this time with me. Thanks for coming on the Maker series, and thanks for your amazing story. I am going to read it tonight for like the 5th time. Once I knew we got on the horn, I'm like, I know I'm going to have to go read this again. So friends, that's Coach CSeaOtter and coachseaotter@gmail.com, and on Instagram. Thank you for being on Love and Brief.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
All right, on to our third maker today. This is a maker that you are familiar with, and a Mako that you're familiar with, from the Big Little podcast, from our previous episode on the WeMinder app, but back to talk about really exciting new things that he is making. Welcome back, Mako. I'm so excited to have you on our Maker series again.
Oh my gosh, thanks so much for having me, RY. You know I love you guys.
Likewise, man, likewise. So fill me in. Last time we talked to you on the podcast, obviously I've talked to you a bunch, but for all of our listeners who have been waiting with bated breath to hear about the updates to WeMinder, I hear from you there is not updates, it's an overhaul. Tell me about it.
Oh yeah, I have completely smashed the original to bits like it deserved to be, and I've remade it from the ground up. The old app, it really wasn't an app. It was like 3 raccoons in a trench coat pretending to be an app. It was a PWA, a progressive web app, which is just a website that looks like an app. But this is the real deal. It is a natively compiled app that, when all is said and done, will be available for iPhone and Android on the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. I know how to do that now.
Amazing.
And I have done it many times. Yes, and honestly, an effort in personal masochism. One day I submitted the same build like 13 times to get it to compile, and I finally got it. You got to really love what the hell you're doing to do this kind of thing.
Natively compiled is one of my kinks, so I appreciate you turning me on a little bit today.
Oh, it's so good.
So what are like the big features in the 2.0 that I wouldn't have seen in the first WeMinder?
Okay, so some of the same familiar things are there. They're just better, and some are brand new. So the things that are like still there are the behavior chart, where you and your top can enter the bottom's behaviors and the top scores them, and that makes this needle move around into the the good or the naughty area, and you can reward and punish. But there's a change right there too that I just made called log mode instead of gauge mode. In log mode, the top is not constrained by what I call smart discipline. They can reward and punish whenever they feel like it. And there are all these graphs that show up that show you kind of like the steady state of your relationship. Oh, here's how good Lola's been this week versus here's how much I have rewarded her this week. Here's how much she's been punished. Here's how much she's been rewarded. And it like takes those guardrails off. It's sort of the difference between having like bumpers in your bowling lane or not. If you don't need them, you don't need them. Right? Then there's the reference. Okay, the reference is this optimistically locked private secure notepad. So when you and Lola write down that she needs to like poop in her diaper on Mondays, you both have that and you can read about it, and no one else will because it's private. unless maybe someone talks on your podcast about it. Sorry.
Right. Yeah. In that weird example, for instance, it might happen.
Right. It's hypothetically.
Yeah. Hypothetically.
Right. And then the third feature is this thing I call the mood thermometer. And I've really, really ripped it up and changed how it works now. The mood thermometer now is this sort of pond you throw mood rocks into. And it's all opt-in. There's no push messages. There's nothing like that. It's all opt-in. And you can say how you feel, whether your feelings are good or okay or challenging, and make up all your own feelings that you want to in those categories, and include voice notes and text notes and reactions in there. And both partners can do it, all day long. So it's kind of like this weird, like technologically enabled form of telepathy or empathy where, like if Lola feels really fussy because her diaper's really messy and needs a change, like you'll know about it because she, mood thermometered about it like 45 minutes ago.
I just love that we are getting so many Lola messy references in one podcast. That's what we're all tuning in for, and I'm here for it. I did realize, though, I'm being a terrible host because I didn't even remind people what WeMinder is. I just dove in like everybody knew, but it's not like everybody just heard this episode, last
Very
week.
fair.
Yeah, remind us, because you're talking about partners, you're talking about discipline. What is WeMinder?
So what WeMinder is it's kind of like a behavior chart in the cloud, but it's really much more than that too. It's a prosthesis for your communication in your power exchange relationship. It is a way for both partners to be on the same page about what you're doing, exchanging power, that you want to be disciplined, that you want someone to discipline you. And it helps both partners sort of check in about it. For the partner that's more nervous, like maybe this will go unnoticed, it gives you a place that things will be written down and they'll be attended to. And for the partner who struggles to have that focus, it kind of like pats you on your butt and says, hey, here's the thing, you probably need to pay attention to this. Lola was really super good. She kept her diaper not messy, so maybe you should take her for ice cream. That kind of thing.
Nice, we got a third one in there. Yep.
Yeah, the other thing that I'm super, super excited about is I just got this new feature working, and I have wanted this to be a thing in WeMinder for a long time. It's called the task book. And the task book and the behavior chart, they're kind of loosely coupled and related to each other. The behavior chart is about what is happening and just did happen. You were good, you were bad, you were rewarded, you were punished. The task book is about what you should be doing, like you should take your morning medication and your evening medication, and you should clean the kitchen, and you should take the recycling out. Those are all things that are actually on my task book with my mama, okay? And so what happens is, she and I are both able to put these things in there, and then I can look at this sort of agenda, this today view, and it's like, Mako, here are the things you have to do, and here's when they are due, right? And so I'll get within, say, 15 minutes or 30 minutes of one of these things, like, hey, take that morning med, and it'll ping my phone, send a push message to my watch, and be like, you need to do this, right? And then I can go in there and check it off. And depending on how Mama has set the task up, it can give me an unscored good behavior for doing it, or an unscored misbehavior for missing it, or neither, right? And so it's about the present and the future, whereas the behavior chart is about the present and the past. And the two things kind of talk to each other. And I will tell you, RY, that I've been using it for about 72 hours in my relationship, and I already noticed this effect that it has on me and like my mental well-being. Like, I am Johnny on the damn spot about that kitchen and about my meds and about taking the trash out. Like, I want the dopamine hit of seeing my stats show what a good boy I am. So I just do it.
That's both adorable and really smart.
Right?
I love that. Yeah.
That's my brand.
That's what it said under my high school yearbook picture. Just adorable and really smart. That's not true. It said most likely to host a kink podcast in the future.
Amazing.
With this approach, I know that you had said both partners. What level, like when we say partners, A, is it always two or could it be more? And B, how involved do people have to be in sort of a disciplined relationship or a power exchange, do you think, to be sort of like prime candidates for this?
So that's a really good question. I will say that in its current incarnation, It is two, because there's always in a given chart a top and a bottom, but that doesn't mean that there's no support here for polyamory. You can be in multiple charts. I'm in about 6 right now.
Wow.
Because I'm testing with people and helping people, and also starting some relationships. So it's really a thing. I will say that down the line, there are features coming that are going to make that even better. But I'm not going to talk about them today.
Well, it gives us an excuse to get back together when they're ready. That's perfect.
Yeah.
And if somebody wants to try this out, I think sometimes there's a maybe a belief that like I'm not dommy enough, or I'm not subby enough, or this is for really strict obedience type regimens. I mean, is there is there a waiting pool before you get in the deep end? Or does it just kind of work in whatever way you want it to?
I mean, it's really organic, right? That's one of the things about this system. This is not, let's say, an age play specific thing, although it works really well in age play relationships. This is not an MS or DS specific thing, although it works really well for them. You could be a pony player. You could be a pet player. You can exchange power to any degree that you're comfortable. Any kind of dominance and submission that you're doing, any kind of exchange of authority, this thing works for. And it's really sort of up to you how much you stomp the pedal down.
That's good. And I guess it lends itself to both sort of cohabitating relationships like Lola and I have, and to long distance relationships.
Oh, let me tell you, my friend, 100%. So I have beta testers that are using this thing all over the world. One particular pair of mine, the babysitter nanny type, she's in Virginia, and her little baby that she's watching is in Australia, which boggles my mind a little bit. Yeah,
I mean,
I got
totally asynchronous. That's perfect.
Yes, that is part of the use case of this, right? Is that like sometimes you're right there with each other and sometimes you're not. And that could be because you live different places, work split schedules, just have complications in your life. What this thing is for, and this is why I call it a prosthesis, is it helps you hang on to and manage the pieces that matter to you in the context of your own busy life.
Yeah. And you mentioned the notifications. I assume that that's something you can tweak to your liking and maybe even work so that you're not concerned about them popping up in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yes, absolutely. So among the things I have, first off, all notifications are opt-in. You can turn off all of them, or not. And I also have this like discrete mode you can turn on. So instead of saying, Lola has logged a misbehavior in her chart, it will say something like, Lola's chart needs your attention, or WeMinder needs your attention. And you can even like rename it. So, you could like, instead of saying Lola, it could be like Mrs. McGillicuddy. Well, it needs your attention. You can make it as innocuous as you want. And I have like more tweaking even to do with that.
Oh, that's really cool. You mentioned beta testers. How do people become beta testers?
Oh, that's a damn good question. So there's a couple of ways. And they all kind of funnel through me. People can come find me on FetLife, where I'm Mako, M-A-K-O. I also have taken to regularly posting to the r/ABDL subreddit with like little updates about what I'm doing. There's also the r/WeMinderapp subreddit. You can join there. Oh. And what I'm doing now, what I'm doing now is periodically I put out these links, temporary links to this special Discord I have, which is like a lobby for potential testers to be interviewed by me. I call it the care lock. It's like an airlock for people that care. So people join the care lock, and then I'll show them what it's about and what I expect of them, and some super secret things that only beta testers get to know, and what I would expect of them, and what special super secret benefit they get for being a beta tester, which is really worth it. But in order to find out, you got to come talk to me.
Okay. And you said that was the r/WeMinderapp subreddit. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
I will absolutely put a show note in for that.
Now I'm going to double check to make sure I said it right.
And WeMinder is W-E, not W-E-E. As
Correct.
fun as talking about we may be.
Right. It's we as in like we together are going to mind your behavior, not like there's a whole lot of peeing going on.
There's a whole lot of pee involved.
That's a thing too.
One thing I get excited about with this sort of thing is that I think that I know that there are apps out there, and even in the BDSM world, there are apps out there that have been subpar in many cases. And I've tried some of them, and they don't have this level of thought put into them. And I frankly don't know that they were built by people who were going to use them. It certainly doesn't feel like it. And so what ends up happening is people default to like task lists in, their phone or whatever, because they don't want to blend it in, obviously, with things like work tasks. And people naturally fall behind. And the first thing that they do is blame themselves. And they go, I guess I'm a bad dom. Or the sub thinks, they just don't care about me enough to follow through on the rules that we built together. And the reality is it's mostly just because the system isn't there, right? Like we all want to do this and we want to enjoy it and have fun with it. But life gets complicated. And if you don't have a dedicated space that you are confident in and that you can use very intuitively to communicate, it ends up falling by the wayside. So I think what you're working on with WeMinder is a way to give people who are in power exchange relationships of any kind the ability to follow through on the things they really want to do and to feel confident about that.
Well, listen, there's a point that needs to be made about this. It's really very important. First off, like person listening right now, I'm speaking to you directly. Stop negging yourself. Stop being so hard on yourself. If being tough on yourself made a difference to make your life better, it would have worked by now. So cut it out, okay? That the truth
That's just good life advice.
Well, yeah, okay. There's this kind of rubric that I follow for almost everything I do in my life, especially things like this, which is that, if you want to be good at something, like the path to excellence travels squarely through really sucking at it. Like in order to be good at a thing, you have to not be and then get better. Yeah. One of my taglines for WeMinder 2 is don't be good, be better.
That's great.
Because that's right. Because that's the thing, right? No matter how good you are at submitting to someone or dominating someone, at diapering someone, or pooping in your diaper. Looking at you, Lola.
That's
right?
Number 4.
Right. Also number 2. No matter how good you are at those things, you can always tinker with it. You can always adjust. You can always figure things out. You can always, iterate a little bit more.
Yeah. And I do love that there are tools like this that when you have an idea, when you want to try something new, I don't know. I've certainly have had moments where I've thought of something. I think this would be fun. And either I've forgotten that I thought of it, I didn't communicate it to my partner in the moment, or sometimes even worse, I did communicate or I did, really get excited about it. And then I just don't have a good way to follow through on it. And it becomes a conversation that one or both partners is like, oh, that would have been cool. When you have a tool like this where you can in the moment go, oh, you know what? Here's a fun rule. Here's an activity. I only want to do it for a week, but I really want to do it. I just want to try a temporary rule, or I want to institute or try this one behavior. That there's a tool that is dedicated for that. It's in its own space. It is not overlapping with my my work calendar. It's not overlapping with my home task list, and it's intuitive enough that I can just do it and communicate effectively with my partner.
What's really kind of funny about that is actually you're hinting at one of the changes I have coming in the future. When we go live, one of the other features I'm going to have is something that I call time release discipline, or discipline over time, right? The way the system is right now and the way that people's relationships are is that generally discipline is what I call point in time discipline. Like, you misbehaved, upstairs, pants off, spanking right now, right? Or, hey, great job cleaning the kitchen. You can have ice cream for dinner. Like, that's immediate, right? But discipline over time is, I'm going to need you to go to bed an hour and a half early for the next 10 days. Or you have an extra hour of screen time for the next 4 days. And I'm designing an add-on to WeMinder that will make the discipline like that, so that when you reward and when you punish, you can do so with this sort of like shot clock on it, where as you're getting the consequence or getting the reward, it floats like this sticky banner everywhere in the app, so it's around. It'd be
that's
perfect for
good.
what you're saying.
Yeah, that's great. I love the shot clock. That's fun.
Yeah.
When you said when we go live, so right now it's in beta testing. It's
Correct.
available in the App Store, but you would have to be a beta tester to use it. Is that right?
That's right. When people want to use it, I have to invite them into the closed beta cycle, and they'll be able to download it from either app store. But it's private. It's a closed beta. You can't just go looking for it. You won't find it. I'm looking to go live very soon, in the next quarter.
Nice.
Somewhere there. Yeah.
Nice. And when you do you have a vision already for, is it a free app? Is it a purchases in app? Like, how is that going to work?
Absolutely. So here's what I plan to do. Okay. One of the things that I recognize is that part of learning to use this thing is to see, is it a good fit for me? Does it work the way I even think? Is it good for the relationship I'm in? So there is absolutely going to be a free version of it. You will never pay me one nickel for, or dime, or penny, whatever. But then above that, I'm going to have what I call the plus tier. And I should explain what the difference is between these tiers. In the free tier, you'll be able to use everything, but only just so much. There'll be some sensible common sense limitations to it. One of the biggest of which is that in the free tier, you can be in one chart, whether you host it or join it. That is also true in the plus tier, which is not free, but is bumped up a bit in the things that you can do, but also gives you the ability to a la carte add features to your account. So that discipline over time thing we were talking about, that's a thing that you could add. There's another thing that I'm also going to add for plus users that you can buy into, and that's a way to customize your push notifications to add sounds to them. So if your partner, scores your behavior or your misbehavior or rewards or punishes you, those can have different sounds. I don't have that yet, but it's coming.
That's fun.
There's so much ROI that I can do with it. Like if you're in multiple charts, you could make each chart have its own set of sounds. So without even looking at your phone, whether it's Lola that changed her diaper or another partner of yours, right?
Wow.
Yeah. And so plus users can opt into those things and pay a little one-time fee to attach them to their account, but then pay this very moderate subscription price for just having the account. Now, deluxe users, they get the big enchilada or burrito or some other Mexican food. Food metaphor. They can be in as many charts as they want. All of those restrictions that apply to the plus user and the free user don't apply to them. And they can be in multiple charts. So you can have a deluxe account, and you could have charts with 9 people, all of whom have plus or free accounts, and only the one of you has to have the deluxe account. That's the thing that I'll be doing. And it's very important to me. This is all going to be very reasonably priced. I'm not trying to rook anybody. What's the most important thing to me as the developer is I want to help you reduce the suffering in your life and better your communication. That's what matters to me the most. I just need you to help me do it because, servers are expensive.
Right. Right. Yeah, that's really good. And I remember you had even shared ideas when we were chatting about voice notes and being able to leave with your voice comments to your partner. And
that's everywhere in the app right now.
Oh, so cool. Because sometimes that tone is exactly what you want. You just want to hear from your partner. You want to hear that tone. Are they being authoritative? Are they giving you sort of a naughty brat sound?
Right.
Sometimes you just want to hear your partner's voice.
It's actually really funny. I have this one beta tester, my friend Stella, who is a pro mommy, and she and I have a chart together, and she's an amazing tester. And one of the things that she did organically with me when the task book came out is she made a task for me to check in with her at least once a day. And so it just comes up, it's due at a certain time. I see it, right? And when we check in with each other, we use the voice notes feature in the app to do it, which is amazing, right? So I'll be like, well, Stella, I'm going to do this today. She's like, oh, Mako, you're such a good boy. And it just kind of makes my heart flutter a little. It's great. It's such a good thing.
Yeah, I definitely, I have an Oral, AURAL fixation. I love hearing Lola's voice. I just love voices, and that feature I think is something I would use a lot.
That's why I'm going to lean on the two of you to get your account going.
Yeah, right. No, hey man, we're going to jump in there. So just to repeat, people can learn about it from you on FetLife, Mako, Mako.
Yep.
They can learn about it in the ABDL subreddit. That's r/ABDL. They can, if they really want to get involved and beta test this thing, they can go to r/weminderapp, that subreddit, and get in touch with you and maybe even get to be a beta tester. And then when this thing goes live, hopefully in the next quarter or so, I will happily announce it on the podcast. So just keep following us here on the podcast, and we will let the world know. Because it sounds really, really cool. Is there anything else you want to share with our listeners about WeMinder?
Just, I'm so excited for people to come and beta test with me, because every voice I hear, every person who has an opinion helps me make it just that much better. So, come to me, folks. I'm looking for you.
Awesome. Mako, thank you for coming on to talk with us about this. And just a reminder, this is part of an ongoing maker series. If you are a maker, if you're somebody who is making something for the community, shoot me a note. Let me know. I'm never going to be done telling stories about people who are making cool shit. And this certainly qualifies. Big thanks to you, Mako, to TinkerKinkers for that awesome love sense activating pacifier, to MisterSeaOtter for this notion of ABDL coaching. I just love that I get to share all these makers with the world. Friends, keep making cool shit. There is always room for more. And when you do, shoot me a note, because I can't wait to tell the world about it. That's it for this episode. We'll see you next time on Love in Brief.